Alright. Looks like we're live. Oh, I think I still need to open up the giveaway. Alright, that should be live, guys. So we'll be getting started in a couple minutes. Time being, you can go ahead and enter the giveaway so you don't have to worry about doing that later. Listen to our chill music. Alright, looks like it's 1 o'clock, so we made it. Welcome, guys. We're going to be building this lovely International Space Station set today. Hey there, Topai. Thanks for tuning in. So, yeah, we got 21321 LEGO Ideas set number 29, the International Space Station. 864 parts, retails for $70. So seems like a pretty decent value for a LEGO Ideas set, like right off the bat, at least from a price per part perspective. One of the things that immediately jumps out are these printed transparent tiles with the solar panel design. I know the 1x2 version is definitely not a new print, but I think the 1x3 or 1x4, whatever that is, I think it's 1x3, may be new for this set. But anyway, looks like that big thing floating above us in the sky, our like largest man-made satellite, I believe. Very beautiful there. Looking on the back, you can see that it comes with a nice display stand, because otherwise it would be very tricky to display this, I feel like. It's got a space shuttle that you can dock with it. It's got the Canadian arm. Quite large overall, although it's kind of like spindly a little bit, so you know it's that's why we can kind of keep that cost down. And apparently it's celebrating its 20th anniversary. I didn't realize it's already been up there for 20 years. And going back to the front real quick, we can see it is in fact going to be 19 inches long and 12 inches wide, so it's not too shabby. Yeah, I really need to like get a good spot where I can display my Saturn V and my space shuttle and my Apollo lander and now this guy all together, because right now they're kind of all in separate places. I feel like that is a shame. Alright, so we got a bunch of bags in here. Looks like 7 bags, numbered 1 through 6. Only number 6 is duplicated. Got a lovely instruction book. Nice resealable box, like a lot of the, I guess, normal size LEGO Ideas sets. I think the only ones I can say I've built that don't have that nice box are like the Saturn V and the old fishing store. Maybe there are some others I'm missing or forgetting about, but most of the rest of the pretty nice boxes going on. Alright, so yeah, a lovely instruction book. Looks like I'm guessing our first bag here is going to be building the space shuttle. kind of makes sense, right? Get like something done so you can have that to kind of play around with, or be like, hey, I finished something. And yeah, I'm a sucker for these space sets, so LEGO can keep making them, whether they're for ideas or creator, expert, or whatever it is. Many nations, shared intentions. So a little bit of background on the International Space Station, talking about some of the collaboration between the different space agencies, apparently 5 main ones: US, Russia, Japan, Europe, and Canada. Wow, so yeah, it launched in November 2000, so this November it'll have been up there for 20 years. Wow, that is crazy. That like over half my life that thing has been orbiting us. The space shuttle set I'm talking about is, I believe, the second version of the Creator Expert one. So I forget, like there was Shuttle Adventure was one of them, but I know there's an initial version, and then it had some issues with one of I believe the solid fuel booster tank as far as stability, so they made some tweaks and re-released it, so I have the second version. So that was from a while ago. That was probably like 10 years ago at this point, but I still have that one proudly on display. So a little bit of background about the fan designer for this set, Christopher Rouge. So his kind of experience with that. A decade already of LEGO ideas. Man, so yeah, look at all these sets. I think I've got most of them at this point. Oh yeah, Voltron definitely didn't have the nice box, but I've got those two, got the DeLorean, got Woman of NASA. I don't have the Hayabusa. Have Curiosity, haven't built Curiosity or the DeLorean. Got the Yellow Submarine, Voltron, Ship in a Bottle. I've got the Minecraft one somewhere. I don't think I ever got the Woman Scientist, or if I do, I never built it. Got those guys. Got those. Yes, I think out of all these, the only ones I'm missing, I don't have the Shinkai or the Hayabusa. Those were two of like the really early ones. Never got my hands on, sadly. But pretty much all of those sets have been fantastic in one way or another. Obviously, there's some newer idea sets since this thing came out that you know, that I haven't built yet, like the Pirates of Barracuda Bay. Oh, this is kind of cool. So we kind of got a little bit of background on LEGO ideas in space and just kind of the history there. So we've got you know, some of the fan designers for the Saturn V, the Curiosity rover. Like, actually, we've gotten to meet him. He's a really cool guy. Woman of NASA set as well. So yeah, lots of history there with space and LEGO ideas. Oh yeah, so this set, I guess, came out from the special review where we got to vote on several ideas. I'm still kind of bummed that Stitch didn't make it, but I'm also excited that we did get this. So a little bit of background on the special review phase. And then we get it all in French and presumably Spanish, since this is the Americas version of the set. All right, so yeah, let's get building. Well, that's kind of interesting. So this is kind of unique in that in the second set of bags we'll be building the base, whereas normally the base isn't something you build till the end. I'm guessing probably because you know, this thing won't be able to support itself unless you have it on the base, so it kind of makes sense. All right, first step in the instructions. 2 astronauts. So these look like they are the similar, if not the same print that we got in the Apollo Saturn V set. I'd have to go double check and see if it's the exact same print or not. But that's pretty cute. Don't want to lose those. And they show 2. Oh yes, we do get an extra. So you actually get 3 of these little guys. And now it looks like we're building. Oh, got a brick separator. Can't forget that. It's a very important part of the set to help fill my brick separator cup up again. So I think the first thing we're building here is going to be Looks like the Soyuz capsule. So back in the 60s, right, Russia and the US, or I guess the Soviet Union and the US were in the space race, and the Russians developed the Soyuz program to compete against the Apollo program, and they're still using the same capsules to this day. Pilot wants to see the astronaut again. Let's see if we can try to get a little closer so you can check out those details. And yeah, they're still using those Soyuz capsules to this day. Pretty impressive when you think about that. And actually, once the space shuttle was retired, we're kind of relying on those Soyuz capsules for the U.S. to get into space until our private space industry kind of catches up, and we can start using like SpaceX and such to send astronauts up there. Getting closer. All right, so we've got this little guy. I'm not sure exactly what it's supposed to be, but you can see here we've got this 2x3 tile with 2 clips on it that's got the solar panel printing. So we see we're going to be making use of a lot of those. So that's what I thought was the 1x3 on here. It's actually a 2x3 tile with clips. So I think that's a new printed part for this set. So it's kind of cool. We've got another capsule looking thing here before we go on and build our space shuttle. And we actually have a CCBS contraction part. We got our ball joint with an axle through hole. And it looks like get a little confirmation from Topai that the astronaut is the same as the Saturn V. Yeah, I wouldn't have expected them to have done a new print for that. It's kind of interesting. I did notice some 2x2 rounded tiles that we'll get to that look like they're the same print as from Voltron. So, making the most of the prints you've got. So here's our next little capsule piece. It's got those shiny solar panels, so we can tilt that so it just doesn't have as much glare. Nice and simple there. And those will, in theory, I guess, be able to dock onto the ISS later on. All right, now onto our space shuttle. I'd meant to, before we started, go grab my Woman of NASA space shuttle set to see how the build compares, but I forgot, so have to kind of go on based on some memory. Can check it out later, I guess, and see if it's similar / same build, or if this is a new build that they designed for this one. So using a lot of these kind of boat bottom rounded tiles for the bottom of the space shuttle, for those I guess kind of infamous heat shield tiles there. It's interesting, we're using quite a few of these 1x2 rounded plates with the through holes on them, and they're mostly just filler in this build so far. Because it looks like most of them are going to be covered, so it's kind of cool that the designers decided to use that newer element that I'm sure a lot of people, wanting to add more of in their collection. So it's kind of a nice little addition there, instead of just another normal 1x2 plate. And so now we added some roller skates on the sides here that we're going to kind of cover up with these curved slopes. So put those on. And so that just kind of leaves like the wheels on the roller skates visible on the back. So they're kind of like the little maneuvering thrusters on the shuttle. Alright, looks like we're already just about done with our first bag here. My goal one day is to go see all of the remaining space shuttles. I think I've gotten 3 so far off my bucket list. So I do like the engine assembly here. Using like these little clips with essentially fez hats to give it kind of that like splayed pattern that it has in real life. So there we go. Cute little build. Definitely captures the space shuttle pretty well. And I do think it is different from the one in the Women of NASA set, because that one had, well, number one, it had the boosters on it, and it could more easily stand straight up. This one does not. It's kind of interesting that they included the space shuttle, considering that has been decommissioned and it is no longer in service. All right, moving straight on to bag 2. I think after we finish this bag, we'll do our first giveaway. So you've been watching some Clone Wars there, Toa Pi. So how have you been enjoying it? I feel like if I have the time, I wish that like once it wraps up, I could go back and just rewatch it all again, and then probably would want to like start rewatching Rebels after that, because I feel like if you go straight from Clone Wars to Rebels, especially with the new stuff they're adding this final season of Clone Wars, it would be even better. Because I almost wish that I definitely wish that like these episodes had come out before Rebels had, because some of the things would be like a lot more of a surprise, like you kind of know some of the stuff is coming because of what they hinted at and alluded to in Rebels. But at the time, they didn't know that Clone Wars was coming back, so, you know, what can you do? So Toad Pie, have you seen Rebels at all, or have you skipped that one as well? Because, like, that would be my suggestion to you. If you haven't seen Rebels yet, wait until you watch all Clone Wars to watch it, because I think that would be a better experience. Yeah, I think it'll be a better overall experience for you, so kudos to you for holding off. But yeah, this week's episode of Clone Wars was fantastic. Sam Witwer as the voice of Darth Maul, always amazing. And in this one, if you didn't see kind of the news in advance, that they actually brought Ray Park in to do kind of the stunt performance for Maul again as well. Because of course it's Maul, so there's got to be an awesome lightsaber battle. He does amazing. It's so good to see both of them kind of back as Darth Maul. There's some other cool little references hiding in there too that were great. Hey, Box Commander. Yeah, I would say that Resistance has a lot less to do with Clone Wars and Rebels, so that one is like perfectly fine to watch like beforehand. That one more just ties into the new stuff. Like if you read the Poe Dameron comics, like some of those are some kind of little bits of tie-ins, or read some of the books from that period. Like then you get some of the tie-ins, but it doesn't really tie in too much to the older stuff. Alright, so here's our base so far. The little notch in there is kind of odd. I'm wondering if we're going to fill that in at some point. Or maybe that's just going to be the back so you can't see it. You can see we're using these 1x2 bricks with Technic pins that presumably these Technic beams will be attaching to make it nice and sturdy. Otherwise, pretty straightforward building so far. I do see a nice printed part that I'm looking forward to putting on there and showing off. Yeah, at this point, Toad Pie, unfortunately, it's kind of like no rush on building any mocks for the convention circuit, because I have no idea when the next event is going to be. I'm thinking, I'm kind of like on the fence with this whole, coronavirus thing, whether or not to register for Brickworld Chicago, and I think I am gonna go for it. And I guess worst case scenario is the event gets canceled, and just get a refund on that, because that event is supposed to be in June, and that I would say is probably still a little bit iffy as far as if that's going to take place. I know even Brick Fair Virginia still a lot of unsurety, unknowns related to that one. I guess kind of a little bit of a relief from obviously I want everyone to be healthy and safe, but from like a LEGO convention perspective, there had been talks at one point of them converting the Dulles Expo Center where Brick Fair, Virginia is held into an emergency hospital, which, you know, if that's necessary, then by all means, but apparently the governor found other ways to accomplish that, so that did not happen. So at least will help a little bit in making sure that, you know, Brick Fair, Virginia could potentially happen as long as, you know, it's safe. That's obviously the most important part. Alright, so we got our printed part. It's like a 4x6 plate with only studs around 3 of the sides, and it's got a lovely silver printing of the ISS above Earth and some stars there. And it says International Space Station below it, so you know what it is that you're building. And so put the little hinge piece on there. Pop that on. And there we go, that looks looking pretty good. I still have to build the top that the space station will actually be resting on. Hey there, Christy. Long time no see. Alright, so let's see. What else do we have for LEGO news this week? Hasn't made it to the front page of BZPower yet, but it is in our queue to get up there. That LEGO signed a deal with Universal for future theatrical LEGO movies, which is, I think, a really interesting piece of news. I know it was kind of rumored recently, but now it is official. I'm not quite sure, you know, like what that is gonna mean for different things. So I've seen like some kind of clarifications coming out that you know, that is just for theatrical releases. It doesn't necessarily mean direct to video, or I guess like direct to streaming these days. And I've also seen it said officially that you know, Warner Brothers is retaining the rights to like all of those characters from the first few LEGO movies. So future theatrical releases are not going to have you know, Emmett and Wild Style, and obviously not Batman, since that's a Warner Brothers property. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of how that affects future films. But again, that's just for theatrical releases, so there's nothing saying that like Warner Brothers, my understanding, or I haven't seen this part officially said, but my understanding is that there's nothing stopping Warner Brothers from doing like a direct-to-streaming movie featuring like Emmett and Lucy and those guys, Benny, of course, and you know, and the gang. All right, oh, and the bag 2 snuck up on me there. So let's get our giveaway link up. Make sure you enter. Reminder, you only need to enter once per stream and you are good to go for the entire thing. open up our third bag. We'll give people a chance to enter there. So on the one hand, right, I mean, LEGO has definitely been doing a lot with Universal properties recently. Trolls World Tour, Jurassic Park and World, the Fast and the Furious, like lots of big licensing deals there. And so in theory, we could see a lot of those characters appear in future LEGO movies. For better or worse, I'm not sure I'd want to see Trolls characters in a LEGO movie, but that's just me. We'll have to kind of see how that goes. Alright. So let's see who our first winner will be today. Vorak 1, Ponrock 2, congrats. You have won a Kylo Ren buildable figure. We'll get in touch with you to get you that prize. You know the drill. Congratulations. All right, move on to bag 3. We're finally starting on the space station itself. I'm definitely curious to see how this goes together. I've seen, I watched the designer video. Usually don't read too many set reviews to see what other people think of it, so it doesn't like affect my opinions of the set when I finally build it. But I watched the designer video featuring Corvin, BZPower's own Vazok's friend, and kind of talked about some of the design challenges because it's such a long and thin, piece of, I don't know, space machinery, whatever you want to call that. That it's gonna kind of wants to sag at the end, so I think it required some extra techniques there in the building to help prevent that from happening, or at least reduce it. So we'll see how that works. Got some more construction pieces, 2x2 brick with a socket joint. I don't see any socket balls, so I'm not sure how if anything is actually going to be going in those, or if they're just kind of decoration. Look on the box and I don't see any jumping out at me. So yeah, definitely curious to see what future LEGO theatrical movies become, and the fact that Universal even signed the deal kind of implies that they want to do more, that they think it's something that's viable. So that's a good thing, at least, because I feel like Warner Brothers, after the LEGO movie sequel last year, maybe was getting a little worn out on the idea, as the movies did progressively. I don't think they got I think the second LEGO movie did better than the LEGO Ninjago movie, but it definitely wasn't anywhere near the original LEGO film. So we'll see what Universal decides to do. Let's see what other LEGO news we have this week. For those of you who like to write, over on the BZPower forums, we launched kind of a new activity over there. Like a kind of little prompt sharing activity where you can share something like an idea that you'd like to see a fanfic written about, and those will get posted up on the site. And if someone else sees it and is like, oh, that sounds like something I'd like to write about, they can write it and kind of share those ideas and kind of get stuff posted like that. And you can kind of write for as many prompts as you want and share as many prompts as you want, submit as many prompts as well. And then once a month, we'll be looking at all the people who submitted prompts, and we'll be picking one randomly to get a free Lego set. So can't go wrong with free Lego. Yep, Box Commander, you can put underscores in the giveaway entry form. That should not be a problem. Hey there, Bellum. Welcome, welcome. I guess going back to some LEGO news this week, I know we finally caught up on some LEGO Ideas news. I think we're currently at, and like almost unprecedented, 20 ideas are going to be up for review in the next review period. And that's assuming, you know, no others hit the 10,000 votes in the next, you know, I'm not sure when the next review cycle ends. So assuming no other ideas hit that, we're gonna have 20 ideas for review. That's pretty crazy. It's a lot of ideas. I'm not sure how the LEGO Ideas team is gonna like go through that in like a fair and reasonable manner in a reasonable amount of time to get all that picked. All right, so we're a few steps in now on our ISS base. We've got some clips, some modified plates there with a bar hole, some snot elements, got some Technic pieces there, and of course the sockets on the end. That curious to see how those end up getting used. It looks like, let's see where we're at here. Those are gonna kind of be like over here-ish. So these might just be used as like a strong joint to like help prevent sagging or something. We'll have to wait and see. Leave it to a former Bionicle builder to find a way to use contraction joints to make a strong build. Yeah, I've seen some discussion online, like for going back to LEGO Ideas, you know, does the process need to be like revised or revamped or anything? Like, is 10,000 votes too few? Do they need to start like approving more ideas? Or maybe adding some more restrictions as far as like IPs and stuff like that? Because 20 is going to be a lot to review. Maybe like reduce the time limit the ideas have to get those 10,000 votes, something like that. I don't know the answer, but I don't know like how feasible, or I guess I don't know if the Ideas team is even like going to be struggling. Maybe they're going to be fine with all that. Have to wait and see, I guess. But I feel like at some point the process or the requirements are going to need to get tweaked a little bit to scale with the apparently ever-growing popularity and awareness of the platform, right? As more people are becoming aware of it, more people are voting, ideas are hitting 10,000 faster. Not all of them are going to be able to become sets, unfortunately. Alright, yeah, so you can kind of start to see how these socket joints are going to be used. So we kind of built up around it underneath with a little tile there, and we're building up on top with a plate. So we're going to be able to kind of like lock into there. And potentially what we put in there is not going to be able to spin, but hopefully the friction in there will make it nice and strong, I guess. You can also see you've got a lot more snot brackets going in along this edge here. Not so much on the back, or maybe this is going to be the bottom, for all I know. No, okay, yeah, this is, I guess, the front edge, and that's the back. So the back is going to be like a little more plain, it looks like. Curious if that's how it's going to work with our display stand here, like how all that is going to go together. Well, let me know, Box Commander, if the audio issue is something on my side. We can look into fixing that. Hopefully it's not. Also good to know that these joints are going to be for a pivot function, so that's cool to look forward to. See how that goes together. And yeah, maybe what we need with ideas is kind of like separating the licensed IPs from the other ideas, and like instead of instead of having like voting on a licensed idea, it turns it into a set. Maybe it's more like, okay, let's go on the bottom here. More like voting on like a idea for a licensed thing just kind of means LEGO will consider talking to that licensed partner for like turning it into like a theme in the future. And like I guess that's kind of happened a little bit. Like there are several Nintendo related ideas that have become popular. And now all of a sudden we've got, Super Mario coming into LEGO ideas, so coincidence? I think not. So this is a bit of a pain. We're putting these gold lightsaber bars in here, and because we already have like all this stuff built out, gotta have gotta really be able to get your finger in there. Kind of not sure why we didn't put those bars in much earlier in the process. I don't think they would have gotten in the way of anything. Anyway, putting these in is going to finish up our third bag. I guess technically means we're at the halfway point. Well, certainly not halfway with the space station. Lots of itty bitty parts this time around. Not sure what that reference was, BFA. Something that went over my head, that's for sure. So it looks like by the time we finish this section, bag 4, we're going to get to put the space station on the stand and then question it with a lawyer. Ah, you and your miraculous ladybug. Definitely recall that being a pretty sweet project, even though I'm not quite up to date on that source material. I know it is something that's very popular and it certainly looks cool, but only so much time to watch stuff. You know, gotta focus on the important stuff like Star Wars. So this is interesting. We're using a silver 1x1 round tile with the soda cap or soda can top on it. I'm not sure what exactly that's going to be representing, but possibly like airlocks or something to get into the ISS. So it's a kind of cool way to take an already existing printed design and make use of it in a new way. I mean, hey, there's lots of good kid shows out there, so even if we're not the target audience, doesn't mean that it's not good material. Could argue that the Clone Wars, and by argue I mean Clone Wars is a kid's show. Still watching that. Alright, now we're getting into some interesting building techniques here. We've got an astromech droid body with a Technic axle coming out of the bottom, and now we're building onto the Technic axle. So we're kind of starting to have studs going in different directions, and having the Technic beam in there will help make that stronger and more rigid. Yeah, I definitely brought up already the fact that they brought Ray Park back for the stunt performance for Maul, and I thought that was pretty sweet. Good to see him and Sam Witwer back in action as everyone's favorite, I guess, fallen Sith apprentice. Is that the best way to put it? And yeah, I think they did a pretty great job kind of bringing Ray Park's like physicality into that performance. Alright, so here we got a nice Voltron part on here. 2x2 light gray round tile with some printing on it. Those were used for like the knee and like, yeah, I guess the knee and elbow joints and all of the lions. And so now we're using them. That might be like the ship airlock, and the soda pop cans are the people airlock, something like that. Yeah, it was definitely a different style, using like the real people as reference versus the animated, but I think it definitely was important. Like I definitely think it added a lot to that scene. Made for a very fantastic sequence, especially when they go up in the rafters. Man, I feel like the only thing that could be making this story arc better would be if we hadn't already seen Rebels to know where the story, where those characters' story goes. Alright, so yeah, now we're taking this thing and built this little guy. That's going on there. So we're gonna go in like all different directions here. Kind of building it up module by module, almost like the real International Space Station. Only launch it, you know, like one module at a time. Yeah, the Ahsoka book definitely kind of gives a lot away too, with especially with her and Rex. But this week I definitely also really love the scene with Ahsoka and Obi-Wan. Like, you can kind of really see how this is going right up to the wire with episode 3. Oh, now I get to attach this all onto here. Where does this go? Okay, so we're attaching it to that little snot bracket here. So that all goes on. And then on the back, we've got Technic axle sticking out. I'm guessing the next step is probably going to be to reinforce that connection with something like that. Now you're going to make me want to go reread Wikipedia to remember what goes on in the Ahsoka book. Because I definitely remember it talks about it somewhat, but I do not remember the details. Alright, so now I guess we're getting to the point where things are going to start sticking off in ways that it can't be supported here. Picking up what we've got, it's starting to get somewhat hefty. Like very densely packed bunch of bricks. So now this goes on our stand here. Let's see how that fits. So yeah, we do have 2 studs on each side that are going to connect to the shuttle or the space station. So that means it's not going to fall off easily when you have it on display. I assume once we have the whole thing, if we pick this up, you'd probably be able to get it to come off pretty easily, just because of the weight. But at least you don't have to worry about, like, you know, bumping into your bookshelf or wherever you have it displayed on and having the whole thing fall off. So that's good. Good to know. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think I've read the majority of the official canon stuff, so going on the wiki for me isn't that big of a deal. It's more just remembering all the stuff I've read, because it's hard to keep it all straight in your head there. You know, catch some little Easter eggs you missed during watching. Like I did catch this week though, a little Solo, a Star Wars story kind of reference in the latest episode of Clone Wars. That was a little cool nod there. And of course, last week's episode we had a young Caleb Doom in there. So definitely some fantastic little references if you're like familiar with a lot of the source material. So the Solo reference was there was a shot where it's kind of a blink and you miss it, but Dryden Voss was in there for a very, very brief moment. Really, BFA, you haven't seen Solo? It is, like, I definitely went into that movie with low expectations, and like I'll tell pretty much anyone who will listen to me, I had a lot more fun with that than I would have ever expected to. I thought it did a pretty great job of just being like a fun movie. Yeah, maybe they crammed a little bit too much in there, but overall I think it was pretty great. All right, so here's our next module going in. You can see we've got some studs sticking out there. That's a 2x2 plate with, let's see if I can pop that back off now. Probably not. Or 2x2 plate with the 2 Technic pins on it there. I have to make sure I put that back on the right way. There we go. And then we've got a number of those 1x2 bricks with a Technic axle hole that allows us to put that around to there, and that is a very solid connection. Han Solo bores you. I think there's enough other stuff that goes on in that movie, other than Han, that it's definitely worth a watch. Alright, so we got a cool recolor here. We got the minifigure ski pole. Alright, normally a minifigure would hold it like that. We have that in nice gold, so that's a cool little recolor there. I mean, if you've got Disney Plus BFA, which I assume you do if you're watching Clone Wars, I mean, maybe not. No judgments here. But if assuming you've got that, then Solo's on there, so it's kind of like might as well watch it. All right, you've got it there. And so yeah, we're using those ski poles with a silver 2x2 dish to make, I guess, little communications arrays. Gotta be able to keep in touch with Earth somehow. One thing I'm definitely enjoying with this build is, yeah, kind of what you're hinting at there, Bellum, is like all these little details, lots of asymmetry going on. I mean, the base here, there's some symmetry, but even then there was some stuff that was kind of different on each side. I have a feeling the solar panels might get a little repetitive, but like all this, like these cool little modules and stuff, they're all just a bit unique and different. Oh, here's another new print we've got. It's one of the Star Wars astromech heads, like a chopper, but instead of an astromech print, it's got these 4 black, I assume they're going to be like windows. So this is maybe like an observatory or something along those lines. Oops, sorry about that. Had a renegade piece try to get away. Alright, and now this whole assembly here. Again, lots of nice little asymmetry. Goes like that. And yeah, you can see definitely why we have to have this on the stand as we're assembling all this, because these are like hanging down below. It's interesting that like we have parts that are essentially like kind of going underneath like the main structure here. Like, I'm sure there was an awesome like master plan in all of this, but it does look a little haphazard. Like, oh hey, the budget got cut this year, so how are we gonna manage to make this work with the International Space Station? Which I'm sure definitely happened. Alright, got some more of our 2x3 tiles with clips for solar panels on them. So we're gonna have a lot of those in the last set of bags. Alright, and now we're building downwards here. Let's make sure I get like the alignment on that right. That's going there. So you're definitely going to need the base to really display this model. Oh, and now continuing to build outwards, got a 12 long Technic axle here. That's going on there, and now we've got lots more to build out here, it looks like. So here's a piece that I believe first came in the Star Wars buildable figure sets from Kylo Ren's lightsaber, now in white. Not sure if that is a new color for this part or not. I know the piece has appeared in other sets, so it's definitely possible that it's already appeared in white elsewhere, but if not, I've got a new color here. Another CCBS ball joint on there. And this looks like it's going to be used as a decorative element. It's not going into our sockets over here yet. We've also had quite a few of these white pneumatic T pieces. which is pretty awesome to be getting more of those. I know members of Bionalug, we definitely added those to our order this year, so whenever we get those, I'm sure a lot of us will be getting a whole bunch of these pneumatic T pieces in white. I don't know if they first appeared in white in this set, if we have this set to thank for them, but whatever set they first appeared in, definitely awesome. Alright, so now our little assembly here, again, more solar panels. That's going to be our first attachment really on this big Technic axle. It's interesting that the panels are facing away from the outside, but I guess you kind of want to have those panels at all angles depending on the orientation of the space station to the sun. Want to always be able to be generating power. And it seems like I think the rest of this bag is going to be kind of slowly building out this section of the space station right here. Thanks for the little research there, BFA homie. All these white pneumatic tees, exclusive to this set and Manchester Stadium. So I'm not sure how many were in Manchester, but definitely a lot in this one. And I don't think a lot of people are going to be buying Manchester Stadium for the pneumatic tee parts. All right, another set of solar panels on there. You can see kind of from the side just like how deep this is getting and all the different solar panels and different orientations we got going on there. Lots of redundancy, I guess. I've got our first big set of solar panels. So this is a dark blue, earth blue, big flag piece here. And it's got that solar panel print on there. It's about the same size, so like two of these are about the same size as the 2x3 printed tile. So it's got like 3 times as many solar panel elements, I guess, than the smaller one. Here. Alright, I think it's about time to put up our giveaway link again. So if you have not already entered, you can go ahead and do that now. If you already entered, you are all set. Don't need to enter again. set of solar panels there on the end for good measure. And that is it for bag 4. I do get a spare CCBS joint, so that's kind of nice. Alright, let's open our 5th bag and then we'll pick our next winner. Big plates, some more of those flag pieces, but this time white and unprinted. Pop those out so they don't get in the way of finding some smaller pieces here. Alright, let's see who our second winner for today will be. Box Commander, congrats! You won an Elite TIE Fighter Pilot buildable figure. We'll get in touch with you, get you that prize as soon as we can. Congratulations. Alright, so it looks like in bag 5 we're going to be building out onto these Technic pins over here. Going out there. And then we're finally going to be making use of these socket pieces, because you got the 2x2 brick with a ball joint that are going to be going in here, and we're going to build our ends here that are going to be able to kind of rotate as we go. I'm not exactly sure what these things are supposed to be. They almost seem like they're kind of like folded up solar panels, but they don't have any sort of printing on them, so a little difficult to tell. I feel like I should know more about the International Space Station, but I do not. I have been trying to keep up a little more with current space exploration plans and stuff like that. You just like turn on NASA TV and just kind of like leave that running full time in the background. Alright, yeah, so we just built 2 of these guys. They look like there's something that kind of like folds up and out, and those go on here. Like so. Now we're adding some different details on to the top of the main body, looks like. Nice, got some more of those golden ski poles in this set. Along with the silver 2x2 dish. Oh, did I put that on the wrong part? Yes. Need the version with the bar, not the clip. There we go. See, it looks like the that last bag is going to be pretty much dedicated to these 8 big solar panels that take up a large portion of the station. So I think this is supposed to be another airlock, but it's kind of going in at like an angle here. A little odd, but I'm sure that is accurate to the real International Space Station. So we'll just trust that the LEGO Ideas team got that one right. Yeah, BFA home, that ski pole piece is definitely perfect for a micro scale X-Wing. You think that would have been a no-brainer. It's like, all right, we made the ski pole piece. When do we get to make an X-Wing again? Because if there's one thing I see with LEGO, they love making X-Wings. No complaints here, that's for sure. All right, got another communication dish. This one's going on down here. Make sure we line that up right. So you got some interesting little details getting added to the bottom there. Again, you can see now that we've taken this off. You know, can see what happens if we. You see, it's I guess you could be building it like this, but it'd be kind of awkward and unbalanced. So I think we're better off doing it this way. I gotta see if I can get it back on the stand. There we go. Well, you've certainly been paying closer attention to that than me, BFA home. I find it very surprising that it took them 8 years to use that ski pole piece on an X-Wing. certainly seems like a no-brainer. Alright, I go over to here and start adding on some little details. Oh, now we get to build, looks like we're building the Canada arm. I assume it's still the Canada arm. And that was like Canada's claim to fame on the space shuttle. So I assume they've kept that expertise into the ISS. And yeah, so it looks like the idea is these golden lightsaber bars, the arm can go on here, and then in theory, if this was like the real ISS, it would be able to like kind of slide along on this, but because of some of the clips used to hold those lightsaber bars in, that doesn't really happen, so it's kind of stuck in place. Alright, now we get to make our side modules here that the solar panels will go on. It looks like those are going to be identical. When do you get a subscriber emote? I should probably make a note to myself to start looking into all that fun stuff now that we're an affiliate. Let's see what I have to do for that to do things like subscriber emotes. It's a little bit disappointing that both of these modules are going to be identical, at least to start. Would have been cool to get a little bit of asymmetry there, but I suppose, you know, it's kind of a function of the source material. So if the actual ISS isn't like that, this one can't be like it either. So it's kind of cool where you've got these fence pieces on here, and so that means we put this other big plate on top, just leaving a little bit of that hollow, but it still makes it nice and rigid at least, so it should still keep the overall structure strong. But like just that much lighter, I guess. Alright, so here are our solar panel boom, something like that. You can see you got the CCBS ball joint at the end there. Kind of built up around it so it is pretty square and flat. And so now we take this and put this in here. So it can't really flex up and down at this point, but it can twist, and the socket has a good bit of friction, so whatever orientation you put it, it is going to stay there. There we go. And yeah, so now we've still just got these panels to add on. Done with bag 5. Already moving into the home stretch. So you can see we just put these 1x2 round plates with the through holes in it. We're going to be using Exoforce hands to go into those through holes. Put little clips on here. Move the arm out of the way. And then our panels here, just clip on. What exactly their purpose is, I'm not sure. They do not look like solar panels. Oh. Alright, so there's so much friction in those socket joints here, and when I try to twist it, it just took the whole spatial off the stand, so you have to make sure you're holding that on there fairly securely when you twist those. There we go. That's kind of how it shows it there in the pictures. All right. Time for our last set of bags. So it looks like one of the bags here is literally just these 1x4 dark blue solar panel tiles. We got a lot of big orange plates in here for those solar panel assemblies. Looks like a good bit of Technic on here. Lots of Technic axles, extenders, lots of short lightsaber bars. And yeah, we make 8 of these assemblies and they're all going to be identical. So they save the most repetitive for the last, I guess. Box over here, the actual space station to the back a little bit, so I have plenty of space for our solar panels. Looks like we've got another color on that Kylo Ren lightsaber hilt piece in dark gray. Again, I know we've gotten some recolors of it in the past, so I don't know that that is necessarily a new color, but a different one for sure. Lots of light gray lightsaber bars. The 3 module ones, not the 4. So I guess like the short lightsaber bars. I think there's at least 32 of them in this bag alone. Get another recolor here, the transmission piece. We saw a lot of this one. We were building our Land Rover Defender the past couple weeks. And I've got it in light gray. We get it in white and red in the Land Rover. What were my final thoughts on the Land Rover? It's definitely a fun build. Had some great features. I really like the winch. I like things like the working tailgate latch. But it's a shame that like we spent all that time on like the drivetrain and transmission, and essentially that just kind of gets like lost in the shuffle at the end. Right, like you can't really see any of that, and since there's no powered up or power functions motors in there, it doesn't really do much. So it's kind of hard to show off that the fact that you've got like, you know, this gearbox that does, you know, park, or I guess drive, reverse and neutral, and you got like high and low gear, and then you've got the like this switch to like go through, I think it was like a 3-speed gearbox. You've got like all that cool stuff, but it was fun to build it, but then in the end it's just kind of like, yeah, I mean, I know it's there, but I try to show it off to anyone and they're just like, yeah, I see a bunch of gears, that's cool. So it's kind of a more for like a personal satisfaction, I guess, than a display piece. Hey there, Aaron. Welcome. Got here just in the nick of time. Yeah, these solar panels certainly did go together quickly. Like literally all I got left are these 2x3 tiles with clips, 1x4 tiles, and these big plates. And they go on these assemblies, and those assemblies go on the International Space Station, and then it's going to be done. So got any burning questions, now's the time to ask. So I think we've got, if my math is right, 64 of these 1x4 dark blue or earth blue tiles with the solar panel print on them. I've got to fill up all of these orange plates with them. Yeah, I definitely knew this was going to be a quicker set. I didn't think we'd be done in like under 2 hours. I thought it was gonna be more of a 2.5 to 3 hour set. I guess. Oh, and I realized that I put all these 2x3 tiles on wrong. They're not supposed to be on the entire thing. Glad I realized that early-ish on before I had to take off all of these 1x4 tiles. Why is it so difficult to find good ways to use the Bow-Rock faceplates? I would say that's because those pieces are from a time with Bionicle, right? Like those early years of Bionicle where they were putting out lots and lots of new parts each wave. And I think that was before they kind of had the current processes they do on developing new parts, which makes them not necessarily fit in system, I guess is the best way to put it. So like it's designed to line up specifically with those other parts for the Bow-Rock, but that means it doesn't line up well in like other instances, and you get like lots of gaps and trying to build things in a way to kind of like fill in around them, which makes it a little more tricky. That's my guess. It was a different time. Bionicle was being very expensive, but also saving Lego when it was trying to put itself out of business. It's in system, but it's got a lot of flare and weird proportions or protrusions. I would say those protrusions make it hard to use in system. It's like a really cool looking piece, but yeah, it's hard to find the right way to incorporate it in. Yeah, I feel like some of those questions, BFA, I will never quite get answers to. Alright, Krika's legs don't follow the usual pattern for holes and axles. I guess it just made sense at the time or something. Alright. I gotta clip all these on one of them so that we can put the other 2x3 tile on and lock them into place. I love it when a space station comes together. Alright, there is our first completed solar panel. It's a straightforward enough build, just really repetitive when you have to do it 8 times. Since this puts us just about done, I'm going to put our giveaway link back up again. Have one more giveaway to do to close out the stream today. I think we'll be taking next week off, and after that we will most likely be starting the 1989 Batmobile, which I know has been hotly requested. I didn't want to start this weekend if we're taking next week off though, since it's probably going to be a 2-week build. So I figured a 1-day set for today. There we go. Beautiful 8 solar panels. And now I can twist these back the other way. Let's see what else we got in the instructions. Alright, that's going to show us where we can attach all of our little doodads. Oh. And now, like, the sense of scale of this thing is really starting to sink in as you add these panels. It was long before, but now this makes it like super wide as well. And you can see that each of these panels can rotate on their own. So depending on where the space station is in relationship to the sun, these can all tilt around so we can get the best light. Alright, and then let's see what we've got for the final little details. It's showing we can put our little Soyuz capsule on the base here, along with, along with this guy, whatever that one is. And then switching around on to the back, we can attach this to our little dock right here in theory. Where's that one supposed to go? Oh no, that one's supposed to go right there. Oh, maybe this is just supposed to be another solar panel, because it kind of matches the design of all these other ones. That or all of these are supposed to be like little escape pods or something. Alright, and then finally, I can put little astronauts on the base as well. We do get an extra. They're gonna be hanging out over here. And then the space shuttle is it actually attached to anything? Okay, so on the back of the base, you can see we've got these two like click hinge pieces, which aren't attached to anything. And so when we put the space shuttle in here, those keep the space shuttle from like falling off the back, so it kind of holds it there in the middle. Alright, and so what else we got in the instructions? A little bit of background on the LEGO Ideas process. There's the inventory. So yeah, 64 of these 1x4 printed tiles, 46 of the 2x3 ones, so lots and lots of solar panels. And yeah, that's it. Alright, so let's take a look at the finished model here. I guess it's not all that heavy in the finished version. It is very wobbly though, because just of how big it is, and that it's all being supported by these 4 Technic beams. You can see it can kind of twist a little, but it seems pretty sturdy. Let's see if we can like. Oh no! So you can't pick it up by just one end like that. Those CCBS joints are strong, but not that strong. I got a little repair to make. But definitely lots of cool details, like the solar panels that move. We got these guys that can move as well. All of our little communications dishes can point around a little bit. We got our Canadian arm here that goes, and a little version of the arm. We've got all the little modules and stuff that have been added on over the years. And then on the back, we've got all sorts of cool little details on the back here, lots more solar panels and little modules and things like that. So yeah, then we can take it off the base, and you can see that, like, I guess, let's see, you can kind of stand it up without the base. Mainly because it's being supported by these guys here. And I guess it also kind of depends on the orientation of these solar panels. Like if you had it like this, these things gonna kind of get in the way a little bit. And yeah, these flags are not all that sturdy. Oh, there we go, I guess that works. But definitely, I think it's gonna look better with the base. I can get it back attached. There we go. All right, yeah, so that's the International Space Station in LEGO form. Oh. And again, you gotta be careful when you want to twist these things because it will torque it right off the base. So you gotta figure out where I'm gonna display this, because it does take up a good bit of space. I suppose if you like tilted these like that, and you can do that, and there's a little bit of clearance between the base and the ground here. So you can tilt like that, that will help. So it's not quite as deep, but yeah, still gonna have to find a good spot for this at some point. But definitely a lot of fun. For the cost, I think it's a pretty good value. You get a lot of parts, you get a really cool build, you get some exclusive prints on some of these solar panel pieces and stuff like that, and lots of those solar panel pieces. If you're into building solar-powered homes or something like that, then this would definitely be a good parts pack for that perspective. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. We've got one more winner to pick. So let's see who that's going to be, and then we can wrap things up. As I said earlier, we will not be streaming next week, but a week after that we should be doing probably the Batmobile. Alright, so our last winner for today, BFA Home. Congratulations, you won a Jin Urso buildable figure. So congrats there, we'll be in touch, bud, and get you that set. Alright, let's see what we got in the chat. Lots of discussion about those cricket spikes. So yeah, I think that's it for today, guys. Thanks for everyone who tuned in. Congrats to our winners, BFA Home, Box Commander, and Vorok 1, Ponrock 2. Again, we'll be in touch to get you those prizes, and we'll see you all in a couple of weeks. So thanks again, and see you next time.